Okay, well that concludes the opening statement portion of our event this evening. So the next part that we're actually going to get to is we're going to give the chamber question first. And I'll remind the candidates that you'll have a minute to respond, each in order. And the person that starts the question to respond will be the first person to ask the question back to that other candidate. Okay, and you'll have 30 seconds. So I am going to remind you that there's an iPad here that has the timer, so please take note, because I will cut you off. So first, we'll hear from our mayoral candidates, Greg and Eric. Will you please approach the podiums, please? So for the chamber question, Greg Moore will be giving the opening comment for this question. So, mayors, do you support the 2014 Mayor's Transportation Plan? What funding model would you recommend for the referendum this spring?
Thank you very much, and I was honored to be chosen by my colleagues around this region, the mayors around this region, to head up the subcommittee to develop a 30-year vision and a 10-year implementation plan for how transit and transportation is to go forward in this region. We did that in a 4-month period. It was an incredible amount of work, but an incredible document that we were praised by business groups, environmental groups, post-secondary, tourism groups, different levels of government of how to move forward. And in fact, 21 of the 22 mayors around the region supported that plan going forward. The tough part is that we have to go to a referendum. So you get to choose how we're going to pay for that plan. I don't get to choose. We get to put forward a question that the provincial government is going to determine, but we get to choose. I think it's vitally important to support that plan going forward. We have 1 million more people moving into this region in the next 25 years. 600,000 cars will come with that. We can't do nothing. We have to do something, and I look forward to engaging everyone as we move forward to a referendum in March 2015.
Thank you, Greg. Eric?
Can you repeat your question?
Certainly. Do you support the 2014 Mayor's Transportation Plan? What funding model would you recommend for the referendum this spring?
Well, as you know, I'm a mayoral candidate here. I'm aware that Port Coquitlam didn't get in on the West Coast Express or the SkyTrain transportation lanes. So, there's no funding that I know of for that, and the only solution is to create links with West Coast Express.
Thank you. Greg, you have 30 seconds to ask a question.
I'm not sure if I have a question.
If you don't...
my question, I guess, would be is, what transportation solutions do you think we need for the city of Port Coquitlam to be better connected both here in Port Coquitlam and throughout the region?
Well, the only transportation is personal transportation at present that's really effective. But if there were connections to the different rapid transit stations that were more convenient, and I think that would be one.
Great, gentlemen. So the next question we're actually going to go to is on the screen. It's the one that has the highest amount of votes. So the response will be first from Eric. Do you support new private sector green solutions to increase recycling after source separation and create local jobs, even if this competes with Metro Vancouver's desire to do more incineration with tax dollars?
By private sector green solutions, you're talking about businesses that recycle and make profits from greens, wastes, and so on. I think that those are, I would agree with those if they contribute to the community with kickback of funding to community projects.
Greg?
Thank you. You know, Metro Vancouver, and I think this question's up there because I'm also the chair of Metro Vancouver. I'm not sure if this is a Port Coquitlam question, but Metro Vancouver, through its policies and working with local government, and frankly, Port Coquitlam being the leader in solid waste management, not only in Metro Vancouver, but across British Columbia and in some cases across this country. So thanks to you, our garbage rates actually at Port Coquitlam at $168 a resident have stayed the same for the last 6 years, and they're proposed to stay the same next year, which is unheard of. we have the lowest garbage rates in Metro Vancouver here in Port Coquitlam. The green economy, because of the diversion that you've worked on so hard, actually produces 850 jobs in Metro Vancouver. We've had $105 million of private sector investment in the last 5 years in those green jobs. And as Metro Vancouver and as local governments that run and own Metro Vancouver, we hope to have that to continue to go forward, because that's so important to what we need to do. Because the most important thing is to reduce the amount of garbage we create and get the most amount of recycling out of the system.
Thanks, Greg. Eric, do you have a question?
Yeah, so, well, it's not related to that, it's to
Sorry, Eric, the question has to pertain to the question on the board, the subject matter.
19.
The one that says 25, private sector green solutions.
Well, that's already been covered. This is a Metro Vancouver representative here, Greg Moore.
Okay,
I'm sure
go ahead.
he's well versed on whatever Metro Vancouver has briefed him on.
So if you have a question, you can pose it.
Well, why doesn't Metro Vancouver contribute if they're getting lower rates and the lowest rates? Why aren't all the prices lower for residents?
In what area? Water, sewer, garbage, air quality?
All of the Metro Vancouver services.
Well, Metro Vancouver Services, we're the sewer provider, the water provider, garbage, clean air, parks, affordable housing, regional planning. Last year, the rate increase for Metro Vancouver for the average single-family home was $3 a house. This year, it's $5 a house. So it's actually the increase increase in costs in Metro Vancouver is going up at about half the rate of CPI. So I think we're doing a really good job in Metro Vancouver of controlling our costs and ensuring that we deliver high-quality water and sewer systems, as well as garbage, recycling,
Thanks,
clean
Greg.
air around the region.
So we're off to the next question because you guys still have time. You don't have to do just two. So we'll start back with Greg for your first response of a minute. How do you propose to deal with traffic congestion in the Fremont area?
So this is an area that is a real challenge, no doubt. Nobody likes that Nicola doesn't connect. Nobody on council agrees that Nicola shouldn't connect. The challenge is it's a private sector landowner that owns that piece of property. So we have options. We can expropriate, which is really expensive, or what we're doing right now is working with that landowner so that we can put Nicola through. Because the transportation system there just does not work until the connection is created. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're managing your money correctly. So going down the expropriation path and spending millions of dollars for that, just in my opinion, wasn't appropriate when we knew that we needed to get the private sector landowner on board and helping us with that. We're very close to that. I hope that within the short term, within the next year, they'll be on board. We'll be able to create that connection, and we'll see a better flow between the new part of the Fremont connector or Fremont area, where the Walmart and Canadian Tire is, and the housing, and the older part where Home Depot and Costco is. And that will help us with the transportation solution in that area.
Thanks, Greg. Eric?
Yes. What has been happening with development cost charges since there's been so much development in that area? Has Port Coquitlam benefited from that?
So Eric, this is actually your turn to respond to the question. So what would you propose to deal with traffic congestion in the Fremont area?
Well, all that traffic congestion is there because of development, and I don't see putting extra arterial routes through neighborhoods as a solution when the Cedar Drive thoroughfare is there already, and it's a Coquitlam issue really for traffic from Burke Mountain through the Fremont area.
Okay, Greg, do you have a question, or do you want me to ask you another one?
Why don't you ask another one?
Okay. I'm not sure about these numbers in this question, but it's not the next one, it's the one down. At present, business taxes pay almost 3.5 times the residential rate, but consume less than 50% of services. What plans are in place to attract business and balance out the tax rate? Yes, Eric.
Well, the new developments, in the industrial areas near River Bridge and in all that area, the high rises and so on. If there's development cost charges, I think that that should contribute to finding solutions for business, which there's big increases in opportunity for business right there.
Great, you have a minute.
So one of the things that we did in the last 3 years is we started the Mayor's Task Force on Business Development Opportunity, and the goal of that was to create a better environment for business to succeed in Port Coquitlam, to learn how they can procure Port Coquitlam business, and how we can connect businesses to work better together to find local things. The first thing we did, I won't bore you, we cut a whole bunch of red tape to make it easier for businesses to get through the system when they have to deal with the city. But we just announced this past week a few different initiatives that I think are really exciting for our business community. We're starting a jobs board in Port Coquitlam. So the city will host a jobs board so local businesses can post the jobs that they're looking for, and hopefully we can connect PoCo residents to PoCo businesses so you can live and work in the same community. That'll save businesses money because it's very expensive to hire, but it'll also get someone that lives close to your business to work there. We're also going to take the business licenses and make them searchable so that businesses can find each other. Because it's quite hard sometimes to find businesses on the Google so that we can actually get them to connect together and have more success in B2B.
Thanks, Greg. Eric? Yeah, so what plans do you have in place to attract business and balance out the tax rate?
That's a long question.
He probably responded, sorry. Yes. I was so enraptured. Eric, you have to ask him a question. You're in the last minute of your session.
Well, to attract business, I think business opportunity is there with the developments. And, any business that wants, retail business especially, is there to go.
So I think there might have been a question in there.
I'll tell you a couple last things that we're doing with the Mayor's Task Force on Business Development Opportunities is, like I said, we're going to make the business licenses searchable so businesses can find each other. We're also going to make our procurement process more Port Coquitlam business friendly. So Port Coquitlam businesses can procure the city business so that we can hopefully have more of that here so we're not seeing businesses from outside coming in and scooping work from our side. We're going to start a business alley. So at May Day, you're going to see part of it is local businesses being able to promote what they're doing there to expose them to the 15,000 or so people that come to downtown Port Coquitlam. And the last thing that we're going to do is to make business more successful is we're going to do a 60-minute business license next year at Port Coquitlam.
Great. And that concludes the mayoral debate portion of this event. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Greg and Eric. Next we have Riaz Laghani and Nancy McCurra. So your first question is a chamber question. It will go to Nancy first, and Riaz will respond. Second, what is Port Coquitlam's competitive advantage, and how do you believe that we leverage that against other municipalities in the Metro Vancouver region?
Our competitive advantage is to do with our heritage and our PoCo trails. Competitively, we could still enhance even more with this, and if we have a bigger vision, bring more businesses in to enhance our arts and culture within the community. I feel that we can build an even bigger base with our communities multiculturally within our community.
Riaz?
I think for the businesses and for the residents, I think the biggest advantage that we have as a city is having the rails and the water connected to our city. That's the biggest asset that we have, being on the shore side, having the rails passing through our city, and a great connection to Highway 1 and to all the communication and the transit that could happen around Metro Vancouver. So it's a great place to attract businesses, whether it be through rail, through water, or through roads. I think we're ideally placed for all of that. That also helps our residential areas in significantly. I think the trails that run through around our rivers are awesome and are a great place to go out with families and spend time. We have great parks, recreational pieces that are currently there. We do need to improve as our population grows. We definitely need a lot more, but we are ideally placed for all those pieces.
Thanks, Riaz. Now, Nancy, do you have a question?
Yes, I was curious, when you spoke about the port meeting the rails, can you explain, were you expecting maybe a port would be perhaps,
Well, it isn't off the table, but basically we are connected by the rivers, right? So at the end of the day, yes, there's no plans from Port of Metrovan to actually have a port here, but it doesn't stop smaller ferries from commuting using that route. So those options are definitely a link between the road, rail, and the river.
Great. Riaz, you can ask a question of Nancy on the same topic.
I actually have no question.
That's okay. We'll jump over to the public question. And I think this is a good one.
Which one?
Oh, there it is. Is there an area of priority that you feel you can bring change to the city of Port Coquitlam? Where and what would you be and how would you do so? And Riaz, you'd have the first response.
So I think we've really spent a lot of dollars bringing all these apartment buildings and townhouses into our core downtown area, and on the other side as well. I think what we really haven't focused on in the last couple of years, we may have done a few pieces, but nowhere close to the amount of people that we've brought into the city, is our recreational facilities. I hear that all the time from everyone, that we need more recreational facilities. If my kid currently, if I have to enroll him and if I don't call right away, he's got to wait another month before he gets into a swimming lesson or a skating lesson or a soccer class. And I think with the community growing more and more every day, I think that needs to be our biggest focus in the next few years. The second focus is transit. I think currently we have one or a couple bus routes that loop through all areas in Port Coquitlam, go through the smaller streets, alleys, and takes me hours to get to a place
Thanks,
where I can get in
Riaz.
10 minutes.
Nancy.
priorities to bring to Port Coquitlam? I think what I would like to see is a vision where more of our youth are included in a lot more things that we actually do within council. I would like to see them part of our tables where we sit, as well as people with disabilities, so they can come and speak to council, to our different subcommittees, and bring the voice of the people to us and we to them. We could go to social studies classes, they could come and liaison with us. With this, could then go to doing more with our growing our local goods and services within the community and how we can enhance businesses to come in. I think we should, at some point, hopefully we do not see empty stores all around on the outskirts in Westwood. I'd love to see those stores filled with a thriving business. We
Thank
need
you.
better bus connections.
Thank you, Nancy. Riaz, do you have a question?
Sure, yeah. How would you propose bringing like the youth and the elderly and the seniors to the table? Like, would that be a committee of some sort? Like, what are we looking at?
Yes, currently we have committees on council. We have a Smart Growth Committee, Transportation Committee, or different subcommittees.
Yes, and people are participating in those committees, right? So how are we going to attract youth and the other members that you just talked about?
They don't actually commit as an advisory on those boards. They are not selected in that manner. I'd like to see subcommittees for youth as well, or identify.
Would it be
Riaz,
would it be
one question. Thanks, Nancy. Nancy, do you have a question of Riaz?
So in regards to your proposal for local goods and services, what do you have to bring forth that you thought would be a benefit?
I don't remember saying local goods and services, but regardless, they are important, and we definitely need to promote local businesses. As our mayor pointed, that we're going to have the alley, the business alley, to promote local businesses as well. So I think that is going to be a good factor. We are going to have some online presence. Again, the current council is working on providing us the online options to search other local businesses and work with them. So I think those are good steps to move forward.
Thank you, and your time is up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
candidates will be Amrit Gill and Mike Forrest. So Amrit, you will respond first.
Sure.
And Mike, you'll be second. And the question from the chamber is, small business is the lifeblood of a city. What can the city do to stimulate the development of affordable office space?
Small businesses are very important to a small town and a community. We can see with Fremont Village there that we've got a lot of big stores coming in. We need to learn from other communities. If we can compare and we can learn from White Rock. White Rock has Morgan Crossing as well as they have historic White Rock down on the beach. How do those communities keep both businesses together? Also Langley. Langley has Fort Langley. They also have Willowbrook Shopping Mall. We need to understand and learn from those communities how we can keep both our big box stores and our small stores working together. Coquitlam, I believe, like the mayor was saying, they're starting incentives that need to keep all their businesses in basically historic, downtown Coquitlam. And we need to be there for our businesses. We need to support our business, whether it be through incentives, tax incentives, online ads, whatever we can do. We need to help our businesses thrive and keep our historic Coquitlam going the way it should be.
Mike?
Repeat the question, please.
Sure. Small business is the lifeblood of a city. What can the city do to stimulate the development of affordable office space?
Of affordable office space downtown. My sense is that we have to develop more pieces of the puzzle downtown to get office space. Work with the BIA to find the places where office space would be appropriate, to certainly produce enough critical mass so that we can make it worthwhile for businesses to do business downtown. Develop places where it is enhance the places that exist. There's a place to be. Downtown, if you've been there, is a very vital downtown that isn't common in the Lower Mainland. And so let's enhance it. Let's make it worthwhile for businesses to be downtown and so they can make some money. And we need to do some work on zoning. We need to change zoning in places so that we can have commercial entities, commercial business, in some of the things that are buildings and places that are presently not allowed within our zoning bylaws.
Thank you, Michael. Amrit, do you have a question for him?
Like you said that we need to change zoning and develop Coquitlam, downtown Coquitlam. Downtown Coquitlam is currently already developed. If you look at both sides of the downtown Coquitlam, there's about four office spaces currently vacant. The two sushi places are possibly talking to those owners are moving out of downtown Coquitlam. How do you plan on keeping these businesses in downtown Coquitlam as we develop more spaces? Are those spaces going to remain vacant as well?
Well, in my opinion, the downtown needs to have critical mass. We need people to go to businesses in the downtown. And therefore, we need density downtown. And we have to have more people to spend some money to make it worthwhile for those businesses to be there so that they don't go and find another place to do business. They want to do it downtown.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have another question. I'm going to edit this one because I don't know if the numbers are right, Mike. At present, a large percentage of new tax dollars goes towards paying labor costs such as city management and staff. How do you plan to manage these costs over the next 4 years to ensure the taxpayer is not paying them?
The taxpayer will be paying them. There isn't any doubt that you and I are going to be paying them. We've initiated in this council something that is really exciting, and it's CIA, okay? Continuous improvement assessment. John, did I get it right? Continuous improvement assessment. And it has to do with a lot of processes that are going on in City Hall, that have gone on in City Hall for eons, and we're investigating every one of them in order to find better methods of doing stuff and having an ability to do it more affordably and better and new ways. And we got all kinds of energy in City Hall that's interested to do that, which is vital. So that's how we're going to move, I think, to manage the costs over the next 4 years. And I'm not sure about the 70%, as you said, but it is a large percentage of our cost. We need to manage it. We have been managing, as Glenn Pollack said. The reality is we actually decreased our taxes last year as a result of this management.
Thank you, Riaz. Amrit, sorry.
The tax dollars do need to be managed, definitely. We need to look at basically how we can maintain our services and all our systems that we have in Coquitlam. You don't want to be paying a negative 0.23% as City Council's done right now, then you're paying a 4% increase later on. The City Council did say yes, they did go negative 0.23, but they also went plus 2.3 on their water levy as well. So all these costs are there through the tax dollars. But we need to, again, look at our services. What do we have? We want to maintain our service. We want to manage it. We want to keep it at par. We want to keep the best service possible. Whether this be from street cleaning, to parks cleaning, to garbage cleaning, anything there, we need to look at our fiscal budget, ensure that we have the budget, maintain our budget, and create a plan that's not just short-term, but long-term. Let's look not 2 years down the road, 4 years down the road, let's look 6 years down the road, let's look 10 years down the road and see what we can accomplish.
Thanks, Mike. Do you have a question for Amrit?
The question would be, Amrit, do you understand who's in control of the water costs in Port Coquitlam?
I personally do not know who controls the water costs in Port Coquitlam at the moment. I do know that there is a water management program being developed in Port Coquitlam with water meters that will be installed in housing. How this program works at the moment, honestly, I do not know. But if anybody does wish to know how it works, I can definitely do some research. You have my number on the flyers. You can call me anytime, and I can try and get an answer for you guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have one more question. Making sure that they're not the same
As long as
ones.
it's not from Dave, okay?
You saw that. I'm not going to pay that. I'm not going to do that one. So, what do you propose to do about the increasing crime rates in PoCo and resulting impact on the local community? So that would be Emmett.
We need to be aware of what's going to happen, especially with the Evergreen line. We need to see what's coming this way. If you look at previous, SkyTrain lines, where has crime moved? It's moved along the line. It's gone from Wally to New Westminster to downtown and back, right? So now that this line's coming here, we need to be aware of what's coming towards Port Coquitlam. We need to have a plan in place, whether it be police officers, fire services, community patrolling. What can we do to reduce crime? So along with crime, I've worked in the Surrey Crime Prevention Society, so I've gone out and I've seen what we can do. We need to light up areas that are dark. We need to, have stuff, out there where it makes it less possible for people to commit crime. Whether it be block watch, daylighting, anything like that, we need to be proactive in this, and we need to ensure that we can get focused and reduce crime in Port Coquitlam.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, in general terms, I would not agree that crime is on the increase in Port Coquitlam. In specific, there are a couple of individual crimes that are on the increase, and one was theft from auto, I believe it was. In any event, we need to work more in communities, police stations. We need to be proactive with respect to community policing and get action in our local area. Jody McNeish in our community police station downtown is doing a great job. There's an expansion in that building that's going to happen, and we will have a better community police station to assist us with finding out how to handle some crime and have input from people. The other thing is we deal with hotspots with our RCMP here, and I think that's a successful program that's gone on in recent years, where we focus crime in the areas where crime analysts come up with the position of where most of the crime is happening. We focus on it. It's amazing the number of times where one individual taken off the streets reduces a crime rate by 20%.
Thanks, Mike. Amit, do you have a question?
I don't have a question. I just agree with Mike that we need to be proactive with our community policing.
Great, thank you, gentlemen.